Is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Day traders, cloud swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you had an incredible weekend. We got some troopers in the house. We got Albert. Good morning, Alex. Good morning, Bill, Brian, Christopher's with us. Good morning to Drake, Franco, Nancy. Good morning. We got Greg K, Gerline, Jay, Joe, JT, Lauren, Martina, Richard, Jet, rocking with us. Good morning, Rick. Rock, we got Ron in the house. We got Anil, YouTube land. We got Jeff, Daniel, Scott. All my lurkers, not back of YouTube land. Good morning to all of you. We do charge a price of admission for YouTube. It is a like, subscribe, and just share. And I don't know. Do you? Either way, let's see what the SPY is doing today. We got the SPY is slightly gapping down by 24 cents. So inside day, I think the most notable thing for today, depending on where we open, is we're essentially right where we opened on Friday. So if we break down a little bit more, that's going to be a little bit more to the weaker side. Otherwise, very, very neutral at open, especially just being an inside high wave candle. If we look at the VPOX, though, we got close yesterday to the retest. I think the current short-term trend is still leaning down. We have not hit my really kind of two targets. So the first one we didn't get to yet. That's 431.82. Got kind of close to it, but not quite there. And then the next one down, a retest of like 431.20. Somewhere in that area, I'm going to start to look for bounces. Otherwise, I think the trends short-term still sell any rips that come in. I'm not quite buying yet. I think a little bit more of a pullback would make some sense. Let's actually look at the weekly chart. It was the first red weekly candle we've had in a while. Still inside, so nothing too crazy. I don't think the tides have really shifted yet. But if we can see a little bit more of a pullback, I think that would make sense. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 really, really bullish weeks in a row. We kind of essentially came into all those targets that we've had on the charts for a long time, and we are still kind of extended from those moving averages too. So just a little bit of a pullback into them could make a lot of sense. So we'll see. I still think the bullish direction is going to be a little bit more challenging short term until we get a little bit of a pullback correction, and we'll go from there. But right now, yeah, nothing really too crazy. News wise, I think China's heating up a little bit of tensions I've seen, and then Russia, I think Putin's evacuating the mutiny on his hand in Russia. I don't know. But just some geopolitical stuff we'd probably have to watch in case there is a black swan that comes in somewhere. It would probably be from the direction of either one of those two countries. But Q's relatively flat, just sitting inside the high wave. So not much different than the SPY. I will say we are under now Friday's VPOC and this is from back in Tuesday, June 13th. So that's going to be a heavy little resistance for us to get through. The next target down, the first one I see is probably about 356 on the Qs, and then maybe we could head a little bit lower, so somewhere to like 354.84ish, and that would be a decent spot to look for some kind of a bounce. So somewhere in that range, but we do have a little bit more room to the downside to go. I think we're right at the 10. I don't know if I can't even see if we're above or below it. We might be smack into the 10. Yeah, we're sitting right at the 10 with actually 3 days of resistance above us. So resistance is building a little bit to the higher side, and there's a lot of free fall room to the below side. Real virtual demand. Good morning, Jennifer. Good morning. Good morning from Tokyo. We got Tokyo in the house. Good morning. We got Jeff. I wouldn't want to be anywhere. I'm guessing anywhere around Putin in the next few months. Yeah. It doesn't seem like a good situation. Doesn't seem too good of a situation, at least for Putin. Throw out any tickers, any symbols that you guys want to take a look at. We will start just heading down the list. The first one that was looking a little bit different than the market was AMD. Chuck is in the house. Good morning to Bill as well. AMD had a little bit of a gap up. So again, we were looking for this gap fill for quite some time. It hit that on Friday. And even though the market's gapping down, AMD is gapping up a little bit. So that would be one to watch in a bullish direction. I don't think I would play this one bullish out of the gate. Give it some time to just pull back, get back into like the I don't know, 110.81 zone, 110.42. It's a little bit of a pullback. I could see buying that one. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row when everybody was looking for that gap fill. The gap fill has happened. Now what? Probably buy as long as we're still above those moving averages. Not moving averages, VPOCs. As long as we're above those, I think those are good balance spots. And again, this would be a little bit of a retest gap on the day. So we will see. Let me just check something out. Yeah, little bit of a retest. I'm going to scoot this one up a little bit higher on the list, and then I see some. Oh yeah, CCL does report today. I was going to say it's 9:15, so we got another. What's that? 8 minutes into the report. Such a weird, odd time, but I don't. Yeah, they're not a U.S. company, so I think that's probably why. But we'll have to watch them to see how that reacts. That could be a play after earnings. We'll see. And then obviously any sympathy plays around it. So like Norwegian, Royal Caribbean could be a decent sympathy play. And depending on how it moves, actually Boeing might have a little bit of movement too from Carnival, just related to travel in general. And then obviously Delta, Spirit Airlines, some of those LUV companies might move as well as sympathy. So we could see some movement in the markets in the next few minutes. We got Boeing, a little bit of a gap up today as well. So looks similar to AMD. After a decent pullback, again, this is coming in from a strike in, I think, Wisconsin. I don't know. I don't know. It seems a little oversold for it's not even from Boeing, it's from their suppliers in Wisconsin. Are they the ones supplying most of their parts? I would imagine they have different locations, but yeah, this would be a little gap up. I would look for, again, we're still inside that high wave indecision candle. So the only thing beneficial really in a bullish case so far from Boeing that occurred on Friday is this little bit of a wick. So that is a little bit of a trap. If you have an indecision, this should tell us that the decision's been made. However, anybody that did make this decision and jumped onto it is trapped, and you do have a little bit of a gap up. I think this one comes back for a retest. I'm not sure where this one retests to, though. So like AMD at least gave us a little bit of a clearer sign. This one has its VPOC down here. I think that VPOC would be the bounce spot. So I don't necessarily want to jump the gun if I want to play this thing bullish and just hit the top of this candle. I'm going to get a little bit greedy just so I can miss the entire trade. But if I don't, I get a good price. That would be my entry. Let's see where that would be. Entry would be somewhere around 204.36. And then you have a defined stop at this point, which would be about 202.54. So even on a swing trade basis, again, we do look like we're starting to maybe break down. Some of the news cycles on Boeing have not been great lately. But from here to here is quite the drop. Looks like a broken elevator shaft, and then maybe something like that. We have a huge support over here. But if that is a trap, and that trap gets taken out, it's no longer a trap. That means that the bulls are a lot weaker than they appear to be. So we'll see. KL says hi with a cactus. I gotta try to figure out where you're from. I want to say Texas, but I feel like that's too easy. There's definitely cactuses in more places. Caesars, yeah, and Caesars might also be a little sympathy, so we'll have to see if they move in the next 5 minutes. Again, just it depends on what Carnival Cruise reports. It might not move directly or as much as maybe Norwegian or Royal Caribbean, but destination places, even Airbnb might be a little bit of a move or two. just for is travel, leisure still strong and people still booking cruises, they might go to the casino as well. But you do have a good indecision. Nice volume on this candle. I don't think I've really day traded Caesars before. So I don't know how the spread's going to be at open, but that's a good, lots of selling. We've got a good high wave candle, good volume, pretty decent support underneath us. Although support's going to be a little bit lower. It's going to be 44.37. Let's draw a quick fib on this one. Where would this one look to go to? If you got a 50% retracement, it's going to take us somewhere to the 47.91. So maybe this looks like this in the coming future. Maybe something like this, and then we get the roll. However, this could also be a decent buy spot if you are bullish. Let's see. Because these green candles here scream that was probably the 618. I'm gonna throw it here. I don't know if there's a little wick down there or not, but I can't really see it. Yeah, it takes us to right this high wave indecisions right at that 5618, and you have good volume on this one. So I think this is a good bounce spot. And again, the first target would take us to about 47 and change. And then if we get the roll, that's where it's going to come in. Otherwise, I think this is our bigger breakout. This is a good pullback, and this could actually happen. Very, very interesting. I'm going to throw this one on the list. Again, day trade wise, I don't know. I have never day traded this one specifically for no particular reason. Just, I don't know. Just never did. But let's see how it moves at open. Let's also check out the spreads at open. That is a good candle, though. Nice find. Who was this one? Was that Scott? Scott's on top of it. All right. Scroll this up the long list. There we go. Let's see what else we got. So CCL, we're going to have to wait on ONON. Little bit of a gap up. Is this a high volume? I know it got very like meme-ish at one point. So they got a little bit of a short float on it, 8.6%. That was us closing the gap back here. The only thing I would be worried about, and the short float could help convince me a little bit. It is still a retest gap technically. So if I was to buy this one, I'd have to wait for a little pullback, probably into that zone. This zone could also happen. That would be my secondary entry. That would give me a much better entry. Enter here, stop right below here. That gives me a pretty defined stop on this. And then look to bounce a little bit. Kind of a little bit of a 3-bar reversal. So that's bullish. The only thing that really would stop me or hesitate me is we do have some pretty sickening resistance right above us. We'd be walking right into the battlefield on this. But again, that short flow kind of helps. All right, let's put this on the list too. If I could get entries down here, if this thing just breaks right through this 29.78 and they're going to let me take that 29.24 zone, I got really good. I'll take that risk reward that we could get through that. All right, let's add this to the list as well. $29 stock. Could get some decent amount of shares of it. Not bad. All right. Lauren wants to take a look at mRNA. mRNA. Everything in this field after the COVID shot is, and I think they're coming out with a new COVID shot too. I'm pretty sure that I heard that somewhere. But a lot of these guys got a ton of money. Pfizer's the same. Pfizer's actually down on weight loss drug today, I believe, that did not get approved. So Pfizer's down on that one. You are at major support. Again, all of these companies got boosted like crazy because of the money coming in from COVID vaccines. So since COVID's a little bit behind us, I would say they have to lead on some of the other drugs, and they're gonna. I think a lot of these stocks get deflated. Probably this one gets back to about $72 in the future. That being said, you are at just absolutely major support. You do have a little bit of a gap up today. And again, this is a spot that the bulls would have to hang into. If we start breaking the candle that came in on Friday, we're in for another probably $50 drop on this one. There's nothing else to really support this thing. Otherwise, that being said, decent gap and go. The higher volume candle still all the way up here. So for us to come back and kind of retest that high wave, there's a lot of room to the upside, probably about $4, $5. I don't know if we hit that today. We are going to have to stumble into all of the moving averages. And again, this does look like a good double bottom that happened. So that would be interesting. People trying to come in here saying, all right, we got a little double bottom. That might be interesting. And now they're all sitting there as bag holders. So I think this is going to be a little bit of a tougher push, as some of these bears that were losing might get to break even or just lose a little bit less than they were before. And we'll have to see. So I don't know. I don't know how I want to play this one, but it is a gap and go if you guys want to keep it on your watch list. CCL is out. So far, not a big reaction. Small little down move. On CCL, again, we have major resistance somewhere around 1584. We're gonna have to see if we could open higher than that, great. Otherwise, to the downside, we have untested VPOX 1531. The next one will be about 1489. Let me just see if the SPY is moving. SPY is not really reacting. All right, now you're starting to get some bigger drops, and that could be a good gap and go too. I'm going to keep CCL on the list. We'll see what happens. Carnival Q2 earnings per share 32 cents. A loss of 32 cents beats the loss of the expected 34-cent loss. And then sales 4.91 billion beats the 4.77 billion estimate. So a little bit better in revenue, a little bit better earnings per share, but we've run up like crazy into it. The real level that really has to hold for the bulls is 1488. After that, we probably start rotating back. Next little level, 1371, and then past that, 1311. So we'll have to see if that one holds. Right now, it does look like a little gap and go. Works. This one's going to be probably really spready. Yeah, it's also a penny stock too. So I won't day trade this one personally. You're going to get mass manipulation on it, so be very careful with it. But you have broken out probably on a little pump. Looks like it came right back down for a little dump. This one's probably going to be all over the place. It's going to be very difficult to trade this one. Long term, we've been on just an absolute ski slope to the downside. We have flattened out a little bit, and maybe there's some life into it. This will probably be most likely a zero company in the next few years based on the just overall chart of things. That being said, it could be playable, but again, keep in mind it is a 50-cent stock, going to be very manipulated in both directions. Let me see, Nvidia. So again, AMD is gapping up. Nvidia's still hanging out there pretty strong with a nice little gap up too. You're going to have a lot of resistance above you. I'd rather play, I think, AMD today if I had to, just based on but you do have, again, it's a little bit of a gap and go. Still inside candle. I think I'd rather focus on AMD. I think you have a better shot if you're going to go long and play a gap and go than on Nvidia. But they should move kind of similar. I'm just very concerned about a lot of that resistance where AMD doesn't have as much. So But otherwise, yeah, I'd probably still be leaning bullish at least. Just not sure how far they go. AVGO, Broadcom, pretty flat. Yep. Pre-market sitting exactly where we closed, so nothing too crazy there. I think we still have a little bit more of a down road ahead of us. I would be looking for continuation to the downside, at least until we get to the 8, 12, 20 zone. I'm going to scoot this one higher because we might get a good setup. At least I have probably about 825, slightly over 825 is going to be my stop if I go short. So I really don't want to see yesterday's VPOC get broken, but I think we have still a little bit of room. I don't see any real support in the wave until we get to the 8, 12, 20 zone. So that's about $10 to the downside. Ron has BMEA. This is Biomea. All right, let's see real quick. We got BMEA. Short float 32%. Huge volume on Friday, so that's decent. That volume I'd have to worry about. That's our, I think, actually slightly higher volume. And the Bulls got no volume coming in whatsoever on the green days. But decent gap and go. Target on this one might take you to about 34.89. If that 32% short flow comes in, you might see a little bit more of a move. I don't think I'd want to short it. Question is, do I want to go long on it? If we can see a little pullback on it, I can see us playing this one. Let's add it to the list. And then let's see if they got news that came out. Get that up there. BMF 219 shows evidence for diabetes disease modification. That could be a huge drug. A lot of these things, so be very, very careful. A lot of biotech stocks, they usually get the pump on the rumor and you sell the news. It does have a big short float to it, but the news is out. Phase 2 trial of its investigation. So see if we can get a sell-off first, and then maybe it could be interesting. I don't want to go bullish at open. A lot of biotech, very, very tricky to trade. Let me see the other one. AI. Has that one still been pumping? Started to finally pull back a little bit. Into a little bit of support. I would have liked to see it if we're going to try to go long. About $30.51 would be my spot that I would try. Otherwise, look for 27.22, just in a little longer term swing basis. 1, 2. This is a small 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could get some kind of rotation up. I think most of the moves probably done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 red days in a row. Inside day. And some of the chip names, which are slightly related to, like Nvidia is gapping up slightly, AMD's gapping up slightly. Could it be a day for AMD for AI? Yeah. It's a lot of selling in a row. Probably due for a little bit of a bounce. If you're gonna take this one, stop should be somewhere under 33.24. And we'll see if that one wants to carry it home. But if that could hold, it could be decent. We almost got down to test that VPOC. I think what happened, I mean, again, it's the story in stock. Everybody loves AI right now. We'll see how everything plays out. But we could probably get a little bit of a balance. And then again, either this, or if we get that story and headlines come back in, then we have the ability. I don't think there's anything stopping it. RCL looks weak. Yeah, what about CCL? Are they still down though? Yeah, so CCL's getting beat. RCL, it's going to look similar. And then NCLH. I used to trade NCLH all the time. Haven't in a while. This one's still holding the 10 EMA, and you probably have a little bit of support around 1863. Let me just see RCL again. Yeah, it's still above the 10. So I would probably not take sympathies. I think CCL has a better gap and go to the bearish direction. Again, we have to see what happens though. This is what's going to make it tricky. I do have one little VPOC 1488. If that one breaks, you have a phenomenal trade. So I'd have to see probably some kind of, maybe we get some kind of buying at open would be great on CCL back into like the 15, 16 zone. Let me just put a little, that alert's going to go off as soon as this thing opens. But 15, 16, 15, 15, somewhere in that zone, that would be a push into that 10. And then if we get the break, I get a little bit better risk reward. Or if we open directly underneath this VPOC, which would be about 1485. And that looks like the case for right now, at least. We still got 3 more minutes. But if that happens, if that comes in, we got a lot of room to pull back on CCL. Again, earnings weren't that bad. Just the run up into earnings was quite massive. What time does the market open? Scott says 9:30 Eastern. Yep, that is correct. Let me see if I missed anything else. Carvana, CVNA. Small little gap up. Again, this one's already run though. It's already broken out of the stable. I think it kind of hit the finish line. We do have a little head and shoulders on this one as well. So again, it does have high short float, but all throughout this little journey up, that short float's been decreasing. And Carvana, I'm not really a believer in the company, so it's not. We didn't run up because the company's amazing. we ran up because that's what the market does. Just squeezing everybody. Roots. This would be a little bit of a retest gap. Good gap down. Oh, I got 2 minutes left. Let me see the short float on this one. ROOT. Root 23% short floats. Again, I kind of already ran. If I was to take this one, I would wait for that 618. Again, short floats work best when they're trapping the shorts. This one right now, the shorts are winning today. So it is a little bit of a retest gap, but the short float is going to be not as important. You are into the 50% retracement, so that could give you a little bit of a potential bounce spot. Otherwise, looking for about $9.18 would be interesting. If we get a little bit lower, that's at least a 618. That would be probably a better, at least risk to reward. Look for the bounce there. But for right now, just kind of hanging out. Tesla has a big retest. Yeah, nobody wants to talk Tesla anymore. This would be interesting. We are opening below the 10. Let's definitely put Tesla a little bit higher on the list too. So we're opening below the 10 EMA. Still one little resistance or support 247.52. Got to watch for that. If that breaks, there's really not much more in the way. And we could see Tesla back to 232.68. I think they just had a downgrade with a higher price target. One of those. But unfortunately, we are just about out of time in the market. Bell. Everybody in YouTube land, appreciate you joining us each and every day. Make sure you can check out reallifetrader.com. We got free online beginner, intermediate, advanced courses. We got a whole bunch of other wealth of knowledge there as well. Otherwise, you guys are awesome. On the way out, hit that like, subscribe, and share. Tell some friends.